just around the phone itself.
Let me try holding it like I did last time. Because I think this one is too. I think this one's too loud. There's feedback. صلوات على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. صلى الله عليك يا أبا عبد الله صلى الله عليك يا ابن رسول الله صلى الله عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين صلى الله عليك يا ابن فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وبه نستعين لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم والحمد لله رب العالمين. والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين شفيع المذنبين رحمة للعالمين سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا والشفيع نفوسنا والطبيب ذنوبنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد. ثم الصلاة والسلام والتحية والإكرام على أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين السيدين الصادقين سيما بقية الله في الأرضين روحي وأرواح العالمين لتولى بمقدمه الفداء. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. صلوات الله محمد وآل محمد. مؤمنين مؤمنات عزاداران. On the 7th of Muharram, we know that the water was cut off from the Ahlul Bayt. And this is when we have riwayat that the children were crying out on the 7th of Muharram, Al-Atash, Al-Atash. And it continued on till the 8th of Muharram as they cried out, Al-Atash, Al-Atash. On the 9th of Muharram, they cried out, Al-Atash, Al-Atash, thirsty. On the morning of Ashura, they continued crying, when will we get some water? All the way up to the Asr of Ashur, crying, Al-Atash, Al-Atash. But they said in our riwayat, after Shaam-e-Ghareeban had come, when everyone had become shaheed and there was no one left in the tents, no men left in the tents of Abu Abdullah, no one left to protect Haram of Rasulullah, they said that there was no child, there is no riwayat of a child crying Al-Atash, Al-Atash anymore. though the children had not received any water at that point, but they stopped crying for water. They stopped asking for water. And perhaps it's because of all of the shocking things that they had to go through on this night, on Shaam-e-Ghareeban. After Imam Hussein became shaheed and his body was left all alone on the plains and sands of Karbala, they say the enemies surrounded and made a circle around the body of Imam Hussein, and Umar ibn Saad said, take whatever you want from the body of Hussein. So the forces came around him like vultures, like insects, and they tried to take whatever they could from him. Someone came and tried to take the shirt of the Imam. Even though the Imam had ripped it from all different sides, they still wanted to take this ripped shirt off the body of Hussein. Someone took the belt of Imam Hussein. Someone else saw Imam's ring on his finger and he tried to pull it off, but it wasn't coming off. So he took out his dagger and he cut off the finger of the Imam just to have his ring. Once Imam Hussein's body had been looted, Umar ibn Saad gave another order. He said, now take the bodies of all of these people, put them in one line, and get your horses ready to trample over the bodies of all of these individuals. So they grabbed the body of Hur, they grabbed the body of Zuhair, they grabbed the body of Abbas, they grabbed the body of Ali al-Akbar. They grabbed everyone's body, they put it in a row, and ended it with Imam Hussein's body. But when they did this, some of the tribesmen, of the people who were there, they came forward and said, we will not allow you, Ibn Sa'd, we will not allow you to humiliate and desecrate the body of someone who's from our tribe. So Umar ibn Sa'd said, you can take your tribesmen away then. So the tribesmen of Hur came forward and they took his body away. The tribesmen of Habib were there and they said, we won't allow you to trample over his body. So they pulled his body away. The people of Zuhair ibn al-Qayn's tribe came, they took his body away. Abbas's tribe came forward, they took his body. Akbar's tribe came forward, they took his body. Over and over again, the tribes came forward and pulled the bodies back until there was no one left but Ibn Zahra, Ibn Ali. There was nobody left, no one to represent Bani Hashim. And Imam Hussein, his body was all alone left in the sands of Karbala. 10 horsemen gathered, Umar ibn Sa'd gave the order, and they began trampling the soldiers on their horses over the body of Hussein over and over again. Mu'mineen, when you perform Sina Zani, when you beat your chest, remember that the pain that you're feeling is nothing compared to the trampling of the horses on the body of Hussein, to the way that his bones were breaking under this. Can you imagine the sounds that Imam Sajjad had to hear? Can you imagine what Zainab had to see when she sees the body being trampled like this? Can you imagine Ruqayya looking out and saying, what is this sound that I'm hearing? What is this crunching sound that I'm hearing on the sands of Karbala? Ajrukum ala Allah. Once the Hussein's body had been trampled, Umar ibn Sa'd said, now go towards the tents of the women and take whatever you want. The soldiers went in. They put their spears inside the tents. They began attacking the women there. Everything they wanted, they were able to take. Whatever clothes that were on the women, they would take their chadors, they would take the rusari. Whatever jewelry they had, they would rip them off. Any anklets they saw, they would rip them off their feet. Whatever property was there, they would take this. Someone came up to Ruqayya and saw the earrings on her ears, and they began pulling the earrings right off of her ears until her ears began to bleed. And Ruqayya says to this man, why are you doing this to me? Why are you pulling these earrings off of me? And this man had tears in his eyes. He said, if I don't take these earrings, somebody else will, so it's better that I do it than somebody else. And the blood began to trail from Ruqayya's ears. Someone else came. And they said, now Ibn Sa'd gives another order. Burn these tents to the ground. Men took torches. They began burning the tents. And some of them decided to light some of the women and children on fire too. Someone came with a torch and they ran to Ruqayya and they started to put her clothing on fire. Ruqayya is running around from tent to tent screaming because she's on fire. The children are running around everywhere. The women are running around everywhere. Imam Sajjad is lying, sitting on a carpet in his tent. Zainab runs inside and says, Ya Imam, Ya Ibn Rasulullah, what are we supposed to do? These enemies have taken our chador, they've taken our rusari. Do we go outside and save our lives and be looked at by Ghair Mahram in a way that we've never been seen before? Or do we stay inside this tent and do we be burnt alive? What do we do? Can you imagine? This Madloon Imam, the first hukam, the first fatwa he has to give is to say, Zainab, you have to go outside even without your chador. You have to go outside because saving your life is wajib, Zainab. You know better than me. Anti alama ghayr mu'allama. You know this, Zainab. And they say that every other night when they were crying, Wa Husayna, Wa Husayna, now the women are crying, Wa Hijaba, Wa Hijab. They say that women were running around from tent to tent. They say that Zainab now is dragging Imam Sajjad on a mattress outside of the tent. Zainab is saving Imam single-handedly. She's going around with Kulthum trying to grab all the children and put them together. And then Shimr comes forward and he looks at Ruqayya and begins slapping Ruqayya in the face over and over again. Zainab, remember, Hussein left you as this amanat. Hussein left Ruqayya in your hand. You have to stop Shimr from doing this. Ruqayya now can't take anymore. She begins running out into the middle of the desert. When she runs out and her clothes are on fire, her ears are bleeding. As she's doing this, she's running around in all corners. She doesn't know where to go. There was some old man who was out in the middle of the desert. She sees this young girl on fire. She grabs her and tries to put out the fire. And Ruqayya screams at him, Ya Sheikh, don't put your hands on me. Don't you know who my father is? Don't you know who my grandfather is? And I'm in Ahl al-Bayt. I'm from the Ahl al-Bayt. Don't touch me like this. And the Sheikh says, young girl, I'm not trying to harm you. I'm just trying to put out the fire. Ruqayya hasn't seen rahmah in anybody for 10 days. So she's caught off guard. She's surprised. She says, Ya Sheikh, you seem like you have rahmah in your heart. Will you do me one small favor? And she says, yes, young girl, what do you want from me? What can I do for you? She says, can you show me the way to Najaf? Can you show me how to get to Najaf? He says, little girl, Najaf is very far away from here. Why do you want to go there? What is there for you? He says, I want to go to see my Jaddi. My grandfather's there. I want to go and complain and said, Jaddi, they killed my father. Where were you? They killed Asghar. Where were you? They took my Amma's chadar. Where were you? Zainab is back at the camps. She's trying to gather all the children and the women. The women are still in shock. They say that Rabab is still in shock from losing Asghar. She sees the burned cradle of Asghar. She's trying to rock it back and forth. Aina Asghari, Aina Asghari. What is happening? Zainab and Kulthum are going around. They're counting all the different children, making sure everyone's accounted for. When they see and they finally come to the realization, what about the Amanatul Hussein? Aina Ruqayya? Aina Sukaynatul Hussein? Where is the Amanat of Hussein? Where is she? They can't find her anywhere. Zainab and Kulthum go out in the middle of the dark night at Karbala looking for Ruqayya. And they begin calling out to her. And they see as they go by in the middle of the battlefield, they see two young children who are sleeping on the battlefield. So they lower their voice. They see these two children hugging each other. And they thought that maybe perhaps these two children ran away from the tents burning and they went and they slept and they fell asleep together from all this shock and they were so tired. So Zainab says, Kulthum, you carry one child and I'll carry the other one. And when they try to lift them up, they see their bodies are completely lifeless. And they say together, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. They notice that the bones of the bodies of these children are broken. And they realize that they have been trampled by the horses of the soldiers of Ibn Ziyad, of Umar ibn Sa'ad. Zainab's anxiety reached her peak now. And she's looking around trying to find Ruqayya. They say, one report says she ends up reaching close to the river Furat and she calls out, Abbas, where are you? Have you seen Ruqayya? Do you know where your Ruqayya is? Have you seen her anywhere? Zainab looks away and she sees a man with a horse walking away from Furat. She runs up to him and says, Ya Sheikh, have you seen a little girl running around anywhere? Have you seen this little girl? And he says, no, I haven't seen any little girl, but if you go farther away in that direction, then maybe you might find her. He says, why do you think that? He says, because when I was coming in that direction, I was trying to give my horse water at this river Furat. I was trying to let my horse drink some water from here. But from that direction, my horse and I heard the screams of a little girl crying and crying. And the screams and the cries were so much that my horse refused to drink water anymore. Go in that direction and maybe you'll find her. Zainab goes closer to that area and she comes across a giant hole in the sand. and she sees a body, a headless body there, and she sees Ruqayya sleeping by the feet of this body. She comes there and she sees Ruqayya, what are you doing? Why are you sleeping by the feet of this random body? What are you doing over here? Ruqayya says, she says, Zainab, Amma, I was trying to sleep with my Baba. That's what I wanted to do. I got scared. I ran out and I found my Baba, my Abata Hussein, and I'm sleeping with him now. He says, she says, Ya Ammanatul Hussein, Ruqayya, don't you want to sleep on his chest? Why are you sleeping by his feet? He says, Ammati, I tried to sleep on his chest, but there was a hole in his chest and all his bones are broken. So I couldn't find any sukoon and comfort. So I went by. His chest was completely caved in. I didn't find any sukoon, so I had to go sleep by his feet. Ajrukum ala Allah. Then Zainab says, okay, Ruqayya, I understand, but how did you know that this is your father? How did you know that this is your Baba? He says, there's no head on this body. There's no clothes on this body. How did you know that this is my akhi? How did you know this is my brother and your father? How did you know that this was Hussein? He says, Ammati, do you know when I was running around scared in the middle of the battlefield, when I came out running in the desert, I was calling out, Baba, Baba, Ainak, Wainak, where are you, Baba? Abata, Abata, I need you now, help me. And she said, Ruqayya says, Zainab, Ammati, do you know, I heard a voice calling me from this body, saying, Elayya, Elayya, Bunayya, Biya, Biya, Aziz Dila. Ajrukum ala Allah. Ajrukum ala Allah. Zainab picked up Ruqayya and brought her back to the camps. Brought her back. She put her down on the tents and put her to sleep with the other children. Then they say Zainab, once everybody was there, Zainab found a broken spear on the ground. She picked it up and she wanted to protect all of these women and children. Everybody else had now fallen asleep and she was there protecting everyone. She saw a light in the distance and she saw somebody coming closer, and she realized that this was the wife of Hur coming from Kufa. And when the wife of Hur came over, she said and gave her condolences to Zainab and said, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, Ya binti Ali. She said, Ya al-Masa'ib, I'm giving condolences to you. She says, you are giving condolences to me. You have lost Hur. You have lost Hur. No, wife of Hur, I give you condolences. He says, no, Zainab, you are al-Masa'ib. You have lost everything. Your brother is gone. Your children are gone. Here, I've given you some water. Please go and give it out to everyone now. I don't know how Zainab must have felt when she finally saw water after all of this time. She must have been thinking, this is the same water that Akbar was asking for. This is the same water that Abbas had died for. This is the same water that caused Asghar to have his throat pierced with a 3-pronged arrow. This is the same water that Hussein was begging for when Shimr was sitting on his chest at the time of Asr. When she saw this, she went to go wake up Ruqayya. She says, Ruqayya, I know that you're tired. I know you just fell asleep, but the wife of Hur has brought us some water. Finally, now here, take this water and drink up. So Ruqayya was confused and she was in a daze when she woke up and she saw the water and she grabbed it. She said, Ammu Abbas, are you back? Is that why there's water? Where's my Ammu Abbas? He's come back. Is that why there's water? Zainab said, no, Ammu Abbas is not coming back. This is from the wife of Hur. So Ruqayya said, okay, I understand. So she grabbed the water and she began running towards the back of the camp, looking and running around everywhere. Zainab says, Ruqayya, Sukaina, where are you going? Why are you running away? He says, Ammati Zainab, don't you remember what you told me? You told me that the youngest person has to drink first. I'm looking for my brother Asghar. He deserves water before me. I need to find Asghar first. He has to have water. Zainab tells Ruqayya she's forgotten. They've already buried Asghar. She puts Ruqayya back to sleep. Zainab sits on guard duty again. She calls out to Faraz. She says, Abbas, do you remember in Medina? Abbas, do you remember you helped me on my horse when we left Medina? When we left Mecca, you were there for me. You were our protector every step of the way. Even in Karbala, Ya Abbas, you were our protector. Abbas, look at your sister Zainab now with a broken spear in your hand. Now I am Abbas. Now I am the Alamdar. Look at you. Look at your sister Zainab. The ulama say that Zainab here, she had a vision. She saw somebody coming closer to her. She saw a man on a horse who had his face covered. And she called out, she thought it was a soldier of Umar ibn Saad. She screamed at him, "Don't you dare come closer to us. You have taken everything from us. We have nothing left to give. Why are you coming and harassing us?" Again, this soldier on the horse came closer and closer. Zainab didn't know who this was. She took the spear and put it out. She said, "Stop. If you come any closer, I will attack you. Don't forget that I am the daughter of Ali. I am the daughter of Fatima. Don't you dare come any closer." And she says, "I will call upon my father from Najaf, and I will use everything that I have to defeat you." The man, the rider, pulls away his veil and he says, "Zainab, Zainabi, don't you recognize? Ana Ali, Ana Abati, I'm your father. You've been calling me. I'm come back to see you." And she says, "Abata, Abata, where were you when Akbar had fallen down and Hussein had to take the spear out of his chest? Abata, Abata, where were you when the hands were of Abbas were cut? Baba, where were you when Asghar was slaughtered like a camel? Baba, why weren't you there to stop Shimmer when he was sitting on my brother's chest? Baba, where were you when they took our hijab away from us? Wa Husayna, wa Madluma, wa Ghariba, wa Zainaba. ألا لعنة الله على قوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون رضا بقضائه وتسليما لأمره. هم باهم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. Two more times. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين. One more time. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين وجميع الشهداء ورحمة الله وبركاته. عظم الله أجورنا وأجوركم بمصابنا بأبي عبد الله عليه الصلاة والسلام. صلوات على محمد وآل محمد.